So my topic for today is multi-dimensional Reiki. Now this might sound like a strange concept. Traditionally there's 3 levels of Reiki: Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3. There's nothing really known as multi-dimensional Reiki, so why am I really talking about it? So it all stems down from an experience that I have recorded in a podcast, which is on my YouTube channel. And essentially in this podcast, I speak about how close to the 1111 gateway me and my friend called in the spirit of Dr. Yusui. Now, I'm a certified Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 therapist. I have been certified and taught by Joanne Antoon, and if you don't know of Joanne Antoon, she's an amazing woman. She's my guru, my teacher, and has helped me and continues to help me to this day significantly, guiding me to being the best version of myself, to be able to be more accessible to my own power, so that I may then be able to unite people with their own power within themselves. And the way that Joanne teaches Reiki is, and I've conferred this with a few Reiki therapists, it's absolutely profound the way that she teaches Reiki and the way that she allows you to develop your skill and intuition, and how she guides you in the process. It's amazing. It's really, really amazing. And if you ever want to learn how to build your intuition, you want to open the channels to experience energies for the very first time, I reckon Reiki is an excellent tool to have in your arsenal no matter what. Because it's a beautiful energy, it's a healing energy, and it's an intelligent energy because it knows what it needs to do and it knows where to go. So all you have to do is allow that energy to come through you, through the attunement that is given to you. Now, if you may not know, Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 and Reiki 3 all require attunements. Now with Reiki 1 you have 4 attunements, with Reiki 2 you have a single attunement, and with this attunement you are essentially able to send healing at a distance. The healing symbol Hong Shaze Shonen essentially means no time, no space. Essentially, when I activate that symbol, there is no time, there is no space between us. Everything is one. And when everything is one, and there is no time and there is no space, you and I are connected. And as we connect with the unified field, or I can then send that Reiki energy to you. And that's such a beautiful thing if you just think about it. We're all one, we're all connected, and Reiki is such a beautiful example that signifies that. However, in my recent experiences, which I have documented in a podcast available on my YouTube channel, me and my friend attuned to and invited in the essence or the spirit or the energy of Dr. Yusui. And this happened after a multitude of visions that both my friend and I saw before we invited his energy to come into our presence. We already knew that we were going to be attuned with Reiki 3. Now level 3 Reiki is a master practice, as in by doing this by being initiated into Reiki 3, you now take a vow to initiate other people as well. You are a master of Reiki. And it comes with one symbol. And this is what was explained to me by my mentor, Joanne. In this particular experience, when both me and my friend have received these symbols on our hand, we didn't know what they were. We couldn't recreate them, we couldn't draw them. What we did was we tried to understand, in our excitement, we wanted to see if it worked, if what we were attuned to work. We knew that it worked, but we wanted proof in the physical. So we Googled the Reiki 3 symbols, and this was later explained to me by my teacher Joanne. The Reiki 3 symbol that I had eventually found on YouTube and was using was not the original Reiki 3 symbol, which was passed down by Dr. Yusui. Nonetheless, I went on to the Google search engine and found the Reiki 3 symbol. And as I tried like Homeo, I felt this energy coming through me, and it felt slightly different to the Reiki energy, but it was way, way, way stronger. And I thought to myself, hey, if I was to amplify it with the chakra symbol, and if it amplified, that means it works. And so I chakrated a few times to see if the energy inside of me amplified as it came through my crown chakra. And it amplified and it amplified, and I was like, okay, now how do I send it? How do I send it? And then I thought to myself, I need to send it to someone to see. So I practiced on my friend, the one I had been attuned with, and I tried to send that energy to her. And as I did, I literally felt and experienced this energy go from my entire being, and it sort of just traveled to my hands. And it kind of dissipated from there. There was like a little that was left in my hands, a 10% of what was filled in my body entirely, but the rest of it dissipated and went to my friend. And as soon as that happened, my friend started to feel that energy. Now, of course, this is not psychosomatic, because we have done this and we have experimented with this in a person being far away, being in 2 different states. And of course, there is no time and no space in the concept of Reiki. So normally, if I would have to connect to a client, or if I had to send Reiki to an individual long distance, I would do the Reiki 2 symbol, which is Hongsha Shonen, and which, as I explained before, states that there is no time and no space between us. But when you practice Reiki 3, you don't really have to start with the Reiki 2 symbols. You can just do the master symbol, and that connects you to the other individual. Now, at this point, I want to sort of segue into an interesting experience that happened to me. Now, just as I had been attuned with the Reiki 3, and it's strange how the universe works. I had posted an advertisement on Gumtree almost 3 months ago when I first received my Reiki 1 attunement, or maybe even 4 months ago, I can't really remember, hoping to get some clients, but no one had ever contacted me. And then someone finally did, and this is close to building up to that point when I felt like I was going to get the Reiki 3 attunement. And surprisingly, the day after my Reiki 3 attunement was the day that he had scheduled for him to come and for me to be able to do a Reiki healing on him. As we were chatting on Gumtree, he said to me that he wanted a chakra clearing. And normally I wouldn't ask anyone anything. All I do is ask them for their name. And this is what was taught to me by my guru, Joanne. What you do is you tap into them intuitively, and you pick up intuitively all the information that you need, because this is a collective unified field of consciousness. And as you connect into someone, or you connect to someone, you can gather all that information that you need. All you need to do is feel, understand, build your intuition, and learn to ask the right questions, and you can get all the information that you need. Now, as I tapped into my client, I decided this time to tap in with the master symbol. Another test that I wanted to put myself through to see if this really works. And I tuned in to him using the master symbol. And obviously just with his name, I had no information, nothing about him. I just knew his first name and last name. And all I did was tapped into him and picked up whatever I could and wrote it down on a piece of paper. And this was literally 10 to 15 minutes before he came. But before he came in, I sat there and I called in my guides. I called in some of the Ascended Masters that I feel connected to. And I asked them to come through the healing process, to make themselves be known, to allow me to feel their vibration so that I may be able to pass that vibration, that healing energy onto the client. And as soon as the client walked in, the strangest thing happened. The room was filled with so much energy that I never experienced something like that before. And as he sat down on the client's chair and I sat on my therapist's chair, I had a brief discussion with him. And I asked him generally to tell me what was going on in his life. What did he think he needed a chakra clearing for? And as he started to tell me, all I had to do was look at my list, and as I looked at my list, it confirmed everything. It confirmed that my intuition using the Reiki 3 symbol was still correct. It confirmed a very important fact for me, that he held all of his emotions, all of his past, all of the limiting beliefs that he had in his stomach. And so I asked him, if I was to ask you, where in your body do you hold your past? When you feel your past, when you think about your past, where do you think it sits? Does it sit inside your body? Does it sit outside, to the left, to the right, above you, below you? Where does it sit? And he told me that it sits in his stomach. And it made sense. It made perfect sense, because why wouldn't it? And I'll get to all of that in a little bit, but I'm going to carry on with the story. So as my client sat on this chair and spoke to me, it was quite evident that why he experienced that to be a blockage in his chakras. Energetically, there wasn't a blockage in his chakra. There wasn't a physical matter stopping the energy from going forwards or backwards. It was just an accumulation of thought, emotion, downloaded programs and limiting beliefs. Yet how they manifest is by slowing down the frequency of the chakra. And as it slows down with these negative thoughts, emotions, belief patterns and programs, it starts to manifest physically. And as it starts to manifest physically, it comes in the form of illness. It comes in the form of disease, anxiety, autoimmune disorders, cancers, God knows what else. So as this client of mine got ready for his session, I asked him gently to lie down on the massage table that I had laid before him. But I gave him the healing crystals that I had charged before with the Reiki energy. And I gave him one to hold in his right hand, pointing towards his face. And then I walked over to the other side of the table and I held his left palm out and I put in there another clear quartz, one facing downwards towards his feet. And then in between of his legs, after I'd covered him with a blanket, I put a healing crystal of clear quartz pointing up towards his head between his feet. I put an eye mask on him and I told him to relax. And as I told him to relax, I noticed that there was so much energy around me already. I knew I'd called in a few of the people that I believed that I knew that I had called in a few of the healing angels and ascended masters that could bless him, that could bless him. But I knew the room was also filled with the people that he believed in, his angels, his guides, his ascended masters. And so I sat down on my chair just behind his head as he lay on that table. And then I started to draw the Daikomyo symbol. And very close to his head, I whispered, Daikomyo, Daikomyo, Daikomyo. And then as I started to feel that energy come in, it came in so strong that I didn't know what to do. And then almost instantly the energy started to flow and it came in so strong. And I knew that I could make it stronger with a few chakra rays. So I started to do a few chakra rays to increase the vibration, to increase the energy. And as I did, I felt that my hands started to shake with the amount of energy, because I'd never felt that energy before. It was a whirlpool, it was a storm of energy that came through. And I knew in that instant that it wasn't really me who was conducting the Reiki. It was someone else. And I knew in that very moment how special this was, how special this gift was. And so as I placed my hands on his head, I intentionally started to direct my energy towards his head. And as I moved out of the way by going and focusing into my heart star, my higher consciousness, I let that love expand. I keep telling myself as I do so, breathe in God, breathe out love. Breathe in God, breathe out love. And as you breathe out love, you watch that heart star expand out in front of you. And as it does so, as it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, it touches those around you. The beautiful healing energy that you worked with, that is your essence, now grows and grows and grows until it can touch another. And as I started to do so, I felt the energy grow even stronger. Stronger and stronger with each and every breath, so much so that now my hands were shaking. They'd barely been on his head for 2 minutes, and now my hands were trembling for the very first time. And as so much energy passed through me, a part of me wondered if I was going to be okay. Would I actually be able to handle all of this energy coming through my body, going to this individual? But that thought came and then it went away. And I continued to focus all of that energy into the client. It was at this point something that came to me intuitively, that I was supposed to do much more than just put my hands on him. And in that very moment, I knew just why I had been given this attunement. And so here I begin describing the process of the multidimensional Reiki. And so, the first dimension. The Reiki energy is intelligent. As it comes through you, the Reiki healer, it comes into your body, and as you touch the individual, it goes through your hands and passes into the body of the individual. Reiki energy, being intelligent, knows where to go, knows what to heal. You could be touching a client's head, but they might feel the energy on their feet. Reiki energy is intelligent. It knows what to do, it knows where to go. The first dimension is really obviously easy to understand. It is the second and the third dimension that get a bit more complicated. Now, before I go further, let me tell you that I have tried this now with a few people, and I can guarantee you that it works. And I have in detail explained this process to my friend, the one I had the attunement with, and in turn have her practice the two other dimensions on me. And as she did, I could feel the effect, as expected, as I am going to describe now, come into my body as an experience. Dimension number 2. For those who engage with the multidimensional realm You perhaps would have your own ways of connecting with ascended masters or with intergalactic beings. But my process is slightly different, and this was again taught to me by my friend Nicole. And it might sound like the strangest thing, but this is what has worked for me. And I built intuitively on the technique that she taught me, experimenting with different things until I came to a point where I made this more of myself. And I encourage you that if you are listening to this and if you practice any of this already, try and make this your own, because all this information is already part of the collective. You already know what to do, so just go with it. Now, without getting into much detail about the process, because this process is a little complicated to explain. What I do is I throw my consciousness out into the void. Now, when I say the void, it is no thoughts and no feelings exist. It's a blank space out somewhere in the universe that you can go to. And as you go to this place and become this nothingness, or that instant when you are out there, you lose consciousness of what your body is. But here's how it works, essentially. I throw my consciousness out from my crown into the void. And the void may look different and feel different for different individuals. But to me, it is my own. And as I throw my consciousness out into the void, I ask the Ascended Masters, whose energies I have connected with, to come through. And as their energies come through from my crown chakra, I feel their energy in my body, just like you would if you activated Reiki with your Reiki symbols. It is an energy that you will feel in your body. But if you have had the opportunity and the experience to feel the vibration of an Ascended Master, such as say Archangel Michael, then you would know unmistakably what it feels like. You might have your ways of discernment, whatever it may be, whatever works for you, use that. And as this energy now comes in through my crown chakra and I feel it in my body, I know from experience that I have connected to the right individual. And now that I have proof through the energetic realm, through the vibration that is in my body, I now then project my consciousness to the void from my third eye. And as I do so, I call them to be present before me, to grace me with their benevolence, with their energy, with their grace. And as they come through, I start to feel their energy around my energy centers, in my auric or energy field. And that's how I know that I have called in these beings. Now this is where dimension number 2 gets interesting. As these Ascended Masters and beings come through, their energy is felt by your energy body. And your energy body starts to vibrate and oscillate at their energetic frequency. With enough resilience and with enough love, you can learn to blow your heart star. And as you connect more and more with your heart star, in a very similar way, breathe in God, breathe out love, and expand that energy from your heart star. And as you expand this energy, you will learn to feel the oscillation, the frequency with which you vibrate at. Your heart star is your inner essence, your very being. And so, as these Ascended Masters come into your energetic field, you start to vibrate at their frequency. And as this frequency engages with your energetic field, it now starts to come to your body, and your body starts to vibrate at that particular frequency. And what you then do is now also with your hands, blowing your heart star, passing that Reiki energy through to the individual, you now also start to descend that healing light, that healing frequency of the Ascended Masters. That is dimension number 2. The third dimension, however, is far more complicated and much harder to explain. It uses the same concept of the void, which is why the second dimension is equally important to build upon. In the third dimension of this multidimensional Reiki, what you do then is you project your consciousness not into the void, but into the individual's energy centers. And say, for example, when I had this client before me and my hands were on his head, I projected my consciousness not into the void from my third eye, but into his body, into his energy center, into his third eye chakra. You may see something, you may not see anything at all. Seeing is of no importance, but knowing that you are there and keeping your concentration there, this is what dawned upon me. This is why I was given the Reiki 3 symbol. In that very moment, I knew that I wasn't meant to violet flame or white light inside of his chakras. That I had to go project myself inside of his chakras and do the Seiheki symbol. Now, just jumping off for a second, the Seiheki symbol. It is the symbol that allows you to break down any blockage, any energetic, emotional blocks. And as I went into his chakras, I knew that I had to draw the Seiheki symbol inside of his chakras. And I started to draw the Seiheki symbol, Seiheki, Seiheki, Seiheki. And I started to feel the energy move, the energy felt smoother, more loose, more vibrant. I saw the colors and the colors became brighter and brighter and brighter. And at this point I knew that I needed to then white light it. Allow that white light to come in as now with the Seiheki, the energy was flowing smoother and better. And smoother and better. And I felt that light come in. I felt the energy of that light as I stood inside of his chakra. And I Seiheki and I Seiheki. If I saw any blockages, I still Seiheki and allowed that light to pass through. And as it passed through, and it went down to his throat chakra, I then projected my consciousness inside of his throat chakra. And again, I did the same thing. I Seiheki and I Seiheki. And I knew that this was the process that I was meant to do. So again, just briefly, I'll explain the 3 dimensions again. The first dimension is activating your Reiki symbols, using your hands to transmit that Reiki energy into the individual. The second dimension is attuning to the frequency of an Ascended Master, a healing angel, a guardian, your guardian angels, your guides, and allowing their healing energy to come through you as a channel, as a medium, and allowing that energy to go through your hands along with the Reiki energy into the individual. And as the blockages are removed, then allow the white light, the violet flame, whatever it may be, the color of the energy center, let that light come through and let that light pour. And so essentially, as you travel further and further and further down the energy centers, you will eventually reach the root chakra. And even though there are many more energy centers underneath the root chakra, all the way down into the heart of Gaia, Mother Earth, you may choose to or may not choose to visit those. That is entirely dependent on you. In this case, I did not. But what I did after I reached his root chakra was I projected my consciousness to another part in the room. My hands were still on his body as I stood next to him, still giving him the multi-dimensional Reiki healing. But then I projected my consciousness from out of his chakra, out into the room where I was physically standing. maybe 6 or 10 feet in front of me, and I turned around and I looked. And I looked at this image of myself where I was standing in my physical body with my hands on him, and I saw his energy body. And I could still see from that perspective that there was still some blockage in his sacral chakra. And so when I learnt that, I then went into his sacral chakra again, and I cleared more with the Seiheki symbol. I cleared more and more, and allowed that love and allowed that light, the universal light, to pass through, the healing white light, the healing Reiki energy. And as I did so, I could then suddenly start to see the blockage as a black matter. And as I felt and I saw this blockage, I started to say Seiheki, and I could see this blockage suddenly starting to rise up. And as it rose up and it came outside of his body, it went into the universe to turn into love and light. And as it did so, I went and checked all of his other chakras, all other parts of his body, and I Seiheki'd wherever I found any blockage. And I allowed that blockage to dissipate and dissipate and dissipate. And once I knew that this had been done, that his chakras had been cleansed, I then went and stood by his side. And this is something that Joanne from Reiki One Attunements taught us. And I've always done this, and I always will, which is when I stand next to a client, I raise my arms and I form a chalice. And I allow the universal Reiki energy to come and fill that chalice. To fill that chalice as much as it can, to fill it once, to fill it twice, to fill it 3 times over. And when I feel that the chalice has been filled, I empty that chalice. I bow down and I empty that chalice into the client, into their heart center, into their solar plexus. And after this was done, I smoothed out the energies around him, on him, clearing anything, any blockages again, anything that was left, all negative emotions, all limiting beliefs, all thoughts now rise and release. And as I smoothed his energy, I closed the session by dusting the excess energy off. After having already grounded him, dusting that excessive energy off, and slowly went and tapped his shoulder, telling him that the session was over, that he could come in whenever he chose to, whenever he wanted to get up. And as he got up and sat on that table, I felt that I came back into my body as well. For I realized in that instant that I wasn't really even doing the Reiki. It wasn't me. It was someone else. It was someone else guiding me. I just completely stepped out of the way. And no wonder the energy was so strong. So strong. An undeniable experience for me that I will carry forever and ever and ever. But then stranger things have since then unfolded with this attunement that I received. This is where it gets really interesting. Now, if you are attuned to feeling energies around you, if you can feel the energy of your energy centers, your energetic field, you are then a perfect participant for me to engage with in this particular scenario. Interestingly enough, last night I experimented again with my friend who I had been attuned with. And as I explained this concept of multidimensional Reiki to her, I asked her if she could try it on me. And so I guided her into what needs to be done and how it is to be done, as I am explaining now in this podcast. And so she did her dichomia symbol and allowed the energy to come through and then sent that energy towards me as she connected with me. And then I said to her, okay, now leap your consciousness into my body and go into my energy center. And as you go into my energy center, I will know, because I will feel that Reiki energy directed into that energy center. And this is a strange thing. As I go into that energy center, as I put my consciousness out there into the client's body, into their energy center, the Reiki energy also gets directed there, which is the strangest phenomena. So I asked her, okay, you do that, you throw your consciousness inside of my body. You have already connected with me, so there is no risk of you connecting with another individual to me through the Reiki energy. I said to her, you throw your consciousness. I could feel her consciousness. I could feel that energy now suddenly being singular to one of my chakras, to my third eye chakra, which is where she first sent it, and then all the way down to my solar plexus, and then to my sacral, and then back up to my heart. And as she did that, I could feel it, and I told her, and I confirmed to her. And of course, she wasn't telling me where she was directing the energy. I was telling her where I felt it. And in that amazement, we learned that as we are experimenting more with this attunement that was given to us, that we realized that this is far greater than our little minds can comprehend. There is so much more to this attunement that will be revealed in time. But for now, all I can say is that I am grateful. I am grateful to be trusted, to be given the opportunity to be able to provide healing, to provide energy from a point of view, from a point of source that I didn't even know existed until now. And so, at this point, I must thank Dr. Yusui, thank the Ascended Masters, the intergalactic beings that came and gave us this attunement, and trusted us with this wonderful gift as they bestowed it upon us. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for giving me your time. I wish you the best. All my love, Parash.